Hello and welcome to Toonami Pre-Flight, our post-Halloween edition, pre-Intruder 3 sweet spot.
Intruder 3 premiere week. Right.
Yeah, weekend, I guess. But now that we have our longitude and latitude plotted, I think we can probably move forward with talking about Scryed or Escryed, depending on how you want to.
I've heard it pronounced both ways, and I've never heard a definitive answer, but we should ask Steve Bloom. He would know.
They don't say it in the show, and I think it's Scryed, and I'm going with that. Because it's like the past tense. You've scryed. You've screed.
I scryed it up.
Yeah, you scryed it all over the place. So this was an anime first, ran in Japan in 2001, and then was a manga after from Goro Taniguchi, who also later directed Code Geass. And it feels sort of similar in terms of...
Code Geass-like.
Yeah. It's sort of... I actually like it better. I think that it loses a little bit of the exterior stuff that in Code Geass I think feels a little bit excessive.
Yeah.
That might be getting into the weeds a little bit too much too early on. Should we show the really weird Adult Swim promo?
Yeah.
We start things off that feels like there was a secondary audio cable that got pulled when this was laid to tape.
Check out this promo.
So here we go.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of shows off the cool-looking animation, and that's it.
Yeah, and when you can hear both channels, you can only hear one channel. So it's a little dodgy.
And that was put together quickly. It looked like they had the first episode. Yeah.
Maybe 5 minutes lead time.
I do like the designs of the show, though, a lot. Like, I like the way... I like the character designs, and I like the animation. It's not available anywhere, I guess, right now. It's another one of those lost in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, it was
shows.
It was a Bandai America show and a Funimation
Sunrise
Blu-ray. Yeah. I mean, when it came over for the dub. Shout out Steve Bloom, Cosma. So I would think that it would exist on Funimation's library, but I couldn't find it if it does. I know how to type, so I think probably is okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhere out there. But I looked everywhere. I looked at all the legal streaming channels anyway, and it's not anywhere. So maybe it'll show up on.
And it had a lot of copyright dings against it on like YouTube rips, which usually means that someone
Sunrise probably
is asking so that they can make money off a legal way.
So it ran for 26 episodes and was mildly popular, but it wasn't like a huge hit. And then it was on Adult Swim's on demand for about a year before making it to Adult Swim proper. And I don't know why we weren't involved in any way in any of that. So
yeah, I don't know why.
It wouldn't
go the other way around. But I guess maybe it was still tied to Jetstream in some way.
Yeah, or it was a limited window thing. Like you get it here, but you can't have it for air for a year or something. If it, like some sort of
sort of the opposite of the way the deals are now, where it's they don't really care where it airs as long as
they want the streaming
rights.
Because the world's different now. But yeah, I liked it. I didn't watch it at the time because 2001 was a very busy year for Toonami. But I do like the show, and I think the characters are... it's a nice mix of action and comedy, and I mean, it feels like it could be a Toonami show, frankly.
Yeah, I mean... Not that it's going to be.
Not a big surprise, but... did we also have a bump? I think we had a bump for this show.
The bump almost feels like less effort was put into it than the promo.
Let's check out the bump. I mean, it's almost more of an open than a bump.
Yeah.
It's just the
It's the
bump.
Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children version.
It's just the
of
bump
Adults
that
Remain.
goes into the show open, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything philosophically to offer about Scryed.
I mean, it's sort of a supernatural cop show. There are alter users, and there's more on this island after the Great Uprising, and you get the sort
They're
of
basically mutants.
boiled.
I mean,
Yeah,
essentially, it's
so
mutants.
different people have different powers, and the main two people are Cosmo and Rio, and it's sort of sometimes they work together and they're fighting against each other, and sometimes they're fighting against each other to work together, and it's
Yeah.
kind of that enemy cop, friend of my enemy, enemy of my friend scenario.
Yeah.
But I think it's good, and I do think that it's a short run show, so it doesn't you don't feel
Outstay
like
its
it's
welcome.
really
Yeah.
dragging on.
Yeah.
And because it came before the manga, they didn't have to worry about any filler episodes.
Yeah,
so
they
just
didn't
told the story they wanted to.
Yeah, they didn't drag it out, and it kind of just did what it needed to do and moved on. I mean, kind of a typical early 2000s Sunrise Bandai model where they like made the show at the same time as the anime. I mean, as the manga, rolled it all out at once in a clean package. It did pretty good, but not good enough to make more, so they moved on. Like, but I like that there are, I like the shows that aren't necessarily the ones that go on forever. I like the ones that go on for a long time too, but
We like a lot of different anime.
yeah, that's we're real heroes. But since we don't seem to have anything valuable to offer about Scryed, I think we could move on to our question of the week.
Okay.
Unless you have more to say about Scryed.
No.
Okay.
I like it. I would check it out. If you like superpowers and
Science fiction
investigative
/ fantasy
forensics
science fiction anime.
combined together.
Yeah.
If you like Code Geass, I would definitely check it out. I think that it's a good show. And if you can find it, let us know where you found it.
Yeah.
And other than, I guess, the
I mean,
Funimation Blu-ray or wherever you may be stealing your anime
or
from
illegal,
currently.
streaming
Thank you for
sites.
destroying an entire cottage industry. So our question of the week this week, sometimes these tie together and sometimes they really don't. And I think you might be, if you can read, you figured out which week this is. And this is one that doesn't necessarily tie together with our show. No. And that's, what's your favorite miniseries? Some of which we talked about before, this being our 4,000th episode of Toonami Pre-Flight.
Yeah.
So we get into
We've talked a lot
the
of
area
OVAs,
where it's not it maybe isn't your absolute favorite, but there are shows that
just
are
other ones you want to highlight. It's some of your favorites. It's not your,
That's
it's
a good point.
What are some of your favorites?
Parenthetically, some is at the beginning of each
Yeah.
of these questions of the week, whether or not
so
it
we can
actually
talk again.
is there or
about,
not.
There's more than 3 miniseries we each like.
I mean, now there are. There weren't before. Should I go first?
Yeah, I think you should.
I think I should too.
I'm gonna gather my thoughts.
So, first up for me is the late 70s miniseries based on Alex Haley's book Roots, which follows, according to him at the time, his very well-researched family line dating back through slavery times up through the Civil War. According to the attorneys that sued him on behalf of other people, he may or may not have actually...
Why did he get sued? I didn't know that.
It wasn't all...
He borrowed from other people's histories.
Which is, it doesn't make it a less good story, it just makes it a less good PR line. So when it came out, he'd spent a decade researching all of this stuff, and it turns out that a lot of it is true, and then a lot of it is true from other people's families. But regardless, this was probably the most... I mean, the 70s and early 80s, there were a lot of miniseries that were on. It was one that Jason's going to talk about a little later, so I won't spoil that. But this was, at the time, one of the most popular TV events probably ever. It was something like half of the U.S. population watched Roots for a week.
At the time, it was like the most,
And it was a subject matter that not a lot of people were used to watching on television.
Yeah.
And it didn't paint over the horrors that were the American slavery and up through the Civil War.
Yeah.
And it brought to light a lot of issues that were really, a lot of people tried to sort of just ignore that little part of American history.
Did you watch the remake?
I did.
Did you like it?
I did like it. I didn't like it as much as the original. I didn't watch. I mean, I think I probably did, but I was too young to remember. I was 4.
This came out what year?
77.
Yeah, I was 6.
But they played it again, and I watched it.
They played it
later
for
on.
years.
Yeah,
I mean,
sort of.
they reran it over and over for like a long time. It would be every year.
So I probably first watched it when I was like 10.
Yeah.
And then you would watch it in school.
Yeah,
over the course, it'd be like.
I remember that. I mean, it was like, it was a thing that everyone kind of had to watch, even if you didn't like watch it on your own. It would show up on your radar at some point.
Right.
Like, people were like, you were expected to kind of have seen it at our age.
Yeah, and it won a million Emmys and was a television hit.
And the book was a huge, massive success as well.
So this is the very 70s television promo highlighting
Roots.
Tonight, we present a landmark in television entertainment. Roots, the true story Alex Haley uncovered in his 12 years search across the 7 generations of his ancestry. After 2 years of production, we present this incredible saga in an epic motion picture. Roots, the current #1 best-selling novel, is the television event of the year. From primitive Africa to the Old South.
So,
Roots sweeps across the panorama of a young America, bursting with all the dreams, all the joys, and all the hardships of a vibrant country and its people through the years of slavery. The Civil War.
are we gonna whoop them Yankees?
Reconstruction. And the struggle to survive.
We want you, nigga.
A film spanning more than 100 years, generation to generation, continent to continent, slavery to freedom.
Hear me, O African. The flesh of your flesh has come to freedom. We are free.
Roots, starring Ben Vereen, Edward Asner, Lorne Greene, Cicely Tyson, O.J. Simpson, Linda Day George, Chuck Connors, John Amos, Leslie Uggams, Lloyd Bridges, Burl Ives, Louis Gossett Jr., Vic Morrow, George Stanford Brown, Ralph Waite, and introducing LeVar Burton as Kunta Kinte. Now, we are proud to present the triumph of an American family, Roots.
Whatever happened to O.J. Simpson?
I like that. I always forget it was LeVar Burton's first role. It's a big way to come into the acting game.
Indeed. So second for me is the 2001 HBO documentary miniseries Band of Brothers, based on the Stephen Ambrose book of the same name, based on the St. Crispin's Day speech from Henry V. Fun little fact. This was after Saving Private Ryan and was Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg really exploring a very specific portion of World War II. They follow around Easy Company, which is in the 506 Parachute Infantry of the 101st Airborne, and they interviewed a lot of the actual people and then obviously shot in Europe. And this was cost $125 million to make, which I knew it was expensive at the time, but I didn't remember it was that much. It was
it was a lot.
$12.5 million an episode, which is definitely a significant undertaking.
When you get Spielberg and Tom Hanks, you can get that big time scratch.
This was, sometimes they play a little fast and loose what's a miniseries and what's not, depending on what they're trying to enter into Emmy Awards. But this was sort of set in the Tom Hanks, why don't we do a miniseries on HBO every couple of years, me and my friend Steven Spielberg, and then later did The Pacific, which cost even more money. But this is a scene from one of the episodes, and it just showcases sort of the badassedness of these soldiers. So let's check it out.
Sir, we are sitting ducks here. We have to keep moving! Got to keep moving! Captain Winters! God damn it, you do not go after! Tell the battalion commander, now get back here!
Now, Dick, I understand your attachment to Easy Company, but you...
Spears, get yourself over here! Get out there and relieve Dyke and take that attack on in! Web fall back into exposed!
Come on, Webb! Let's go, kid!
Hang on, Virgo! Fire!
I'm taking over.
Precision lifted! What we got? Sir, most of the company is spread out here. First platoon tried an end around, but they're stretched out. They're pinned down by a sniper. I believe he's in the building with the caved-in roof.
All right, I want mortars and grenade launchers on that building till it's gone. When it's gone, I want first to go straight in. Forget going around. Everybody else follow me.
Yes, sir.
Thank God.
All right, you heard the word. Second platoon on the CO! Sergeant Alley!
Got it, Sarge!
Okay, first platoon, move out! Move out! On your feet, second platoon! Move out! Get on your goddamn feet! Come on! Fire! Come on, move out! Fire! Come on, come on! Hey, you get over here! Take the fighter! Fire! Let me... Oh! What do you see, Lieutenant? Armored infantry! A lot of infantry! We're supposed to be on the other side of the town. You see the side of them? No! Radio, anything? No, sir! Sir, I think they're gonna pull back. If we don't connect with I, they're gonna slip away! That's right, wait here!
Easy 6! What the hell? I'll fix you back here!
At first, the Germans didn't shoot at it. I think they couldn't quite believe what they were seeing. But that wasn't the really astounding thing. The astounding thing was that after he hooked up with I Company, he came back.
Good old Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Wahlburgers. Wahlburgers.
If you haven't seen Band of Brothers and you like war movies, you should definitely check it out. We probably do a whole episode just on our favorite HBO miniseries.
Yeah.
But in the effort
they've done a lot of good ones.
of moving things along and having somewhat of diversified views, next for me, or last for me, is Afro Samurai, the Gonzo 2007 anime based off the manga of the same name. This is the anime is born out of RZA and Samuel Jackson and Gonzo sort of working together to make it's sort of the, hey, I've got a great voice and you make good music and you have good animation. Let's run this thing on Spike that not that many people end up watching, but is actually pretty good. The promo what I could find was the Comic-Con trailer. There's not any dialogue in it, and one of the better parts is Samuel Jackson doing the VO. But the only thing I could find of him was just doing an actual session, which sounds cool, but just ends up being Samuel Jackson sitting in a room reading a bunch of lines.
Yeah.
So this is the Comic-Con announce trailer for Afro Samurai.
cold bloody damn, motherfucker.
Yeah, that was a terrible promo.
Yeah.
I never watched Afro Samurai. I guess
good.
because it was on Spike. I hadn't seen it.
I mean, it takes.
Is it available to rent or?
You can buy the Blu-ray. I don't know beyond that.
Cool.
Streaming wise.
I know it's well regarded. I just never got to see it.
You kind of see it in the half-assed trailer that they made, but basically the story is Afro Samurai sees his father get killed by this man named Justice, who's voiced by Ron Perlman, and
Heavy
it's a
hitters, the
extremely straightforward revenge tale of hunting Justice down and killing him and getting the #1 headband.
He's out for justice.
Yes.
Nice.
So those are some of my favorite miniseries. Jason?
Excellent choices. So, funny enough, my first miniseries I'm going to talk about, or you could call it a film, it was released at Cannes as like a 7-hour film, but then it aired on television as a 7-part miniseries. So I'm just going to go with miniseries. And it was put out this year, and that is OJ Made in America, which is the documentary about the rise and fall of O.J. Simpson. So he went from roots when he was arguably at the height of his piece of American culture, and then
I think
into the early 80s.
Naked Gun 33 1/3 would probably have something to say to
and
you.
he then went, and obviously the murder trial happened, and down to where he is now. It's a pretty incredible documentary, probably the best thing I've seen on TV all year, and it really is not exploitative at all and really makes you sort of understand not only OJ in a way that maybe you didn't think about, but also Nicole and Ron Goldman, who were his victims, alleged victims. I think it's and also gives you an insight into the trial and the jurors and what everybody was thinking and why decisions were made in a way that's not sensationalized and really seems to be sort of really wanting to get the record straight. And it's pretty incredible and also very hard to watch because they do show some pretty graphic crime scene photos of what happened to Nicole Brown Simpson and what happened to Ron Goldman, which
it feels like
brutal.
they started making it the day after the trial and have been making it for the last
it's crazy.
25 years. Like it's
but it's really riveting, even if you know the entire story, which I obviously did, and we all do kind of generally, and I think it's well worth a watch if you think you can stand 7 hours of it. So here's a pretty good trailer for it that sort of encapsulates the whole thing.
I told him, OJ, you're breaking the laws of God. One day, everybody's going to know everything that you've done, man.
If you're a black man in America, you're fighting our war.
Ooh, sinner man, where you gonna run to?
The reality of black America and white America. Two totally separate worlds.
For us, OJ was colorless. None of the people that we associated with looked at him as a black man.
A civil rights leader in Los Angeles has said if you are going to be a Negro in a big city, then Los Angeles is the best place to be.
I can somebody say I can kill this woman.
Ooh, sinner man, where you gonna run to?
Really? O.J. Simpson as a civil rights victim? It was disgusting. It was appalling.
Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Cinnamon, where you gonna run to?
It's easy to celebrate. It's easy to be friends when somebody's winning.
So I ran to the devil.
You know, you gotta have tragedy in your life to really write an interesting autobiography.
Yeah, so as Gil pointed out, it's actually 90-minute episodes, so it's like 10 hours, but it's like 6 or 7 90-minute episodes. But well worth watching, and definitely well regarded critically. So then the second miniseries I want to point out is an older one, and it's been one of my favorites for a while. It's hard to get your hands on. You can only get it on DVD, and it's lesser known here in the U.S., so I just thought I'd highlight it. And that is the 1980s BBC miniseries, The Singing Detective, which is written by the great Dennis Potter, who is a really well-known, in the UK anyway, playwright and writer of films and television. He's kind of a genius. So this is like, it's hard to explain really, but it's about a man who's a really bitter alcoholic author who's in the hospital for a skin condition and going through all sorts of horrible stuff. It's like psoriasis, like really bad psoriasis. And while he's in there, he's having fevers and hallucinating. So it's like it jumps in time and place from his memories and his recollections of his pretty hard life and what he's been through, his time in the hospital, and then he writes detective novels, and so then it jumps into sort of his imaginings of scenes from his novels with him as the main character. And the old virus scan. We were told they turned that off, but they lied like they always do. Just hide behind the virus, Gil. Evidently, the hardest thing in the world is to just get a virus thing to turn off. Can't work that out here at Adult Swim headquarters. But yeah, so yeah, he has a virus. So it kind of jumps, but it's pretty kaleidoscopic, and they do a lot of things. He does something, Potter's innovation, which is also in the movie Pennies from Heaven, if you've ever seen that movie with Steve Martin and Christopher Walken. He basically sets musical sequences to people singing songs from different eras instead of original musicals, songs written for this. So at the time, that was a real innovation. I mean, now that's more common with Moulin Rouge and stuff like that. But back then, it was like pretty crazy. So here is a musical sequence from when he's hallucinating in the hospital. It's pretty great.
Librium. Valium. Antidepressants. And barbiturate. Barbiturate. Antidepressants. Valium. And Librium.
Ezekiel cried. Them dry bones. Ezekiel cried. Them dry bones. Ezekiel cried. Them dry bones. Now hear the word of the Lord. Ezekiel connected them. Dry bones. Ezekiel connected them. Dry bones. Ezekiel connected them. Dry bones. Now hear the word of the Lord. When your toe bone connected to your foot bone connected to your heel bone connected to your ankle bone connected to your leg bone connected to your knee bone connected to your thigh bone connected to your hip bone connected to your back bone connected to your shoulder bone connected to your neck bone connected to your head bone. Now hear the word of the Lord. Them bones gonna walk around. Them bones gonna. Them bones gonna walk around. Now hear the word of the Lord. Disconnect them bones, dry bones. Disconnect them bones, dry bones. Disconnect them bones, dry bones. Now hear the word of the Lord. When your head bone connected from your neck bone connected from your shoulder bone connected from your back bone connected from your hip bone connected from your thigh bone connected from your knee bone connected from your leg bone connected from your ankle bone connected from your heel bone connected from your foot bone connected from your toe bone. Now hear the word of the Lord. Now hear the word
Would you like to see the Padre? Would that help at all?
Or a psychiatrist, perhaps.
Yes, looks like it to me. Good day to you. Keep your pecker up, old chap.
Keep your pecker up, old chap. Yeah, way ahead of its time. Totally kind of weird and not for everybody, but I love it. Very much British sense of humor. And then finally, I wanted to talk about an anime, of course, since that's why most of you are watching. We've talked about a bunch of OVAs, but I wanted to highlight one of my old favorites, and that is Die Buster, which is also known as Gunbuster 2, the sequel to Gunbuster. This was made in 2004 for Gainax's 20th anniversary, and it was directed by Tsurumaki, who is, of course, the guy who went on to create Fooly Cooly. So obviously it's not going to be a big surprise that I would like it. It is I think it's 6 episodes. It's pretty short. If you love giant robots, I think you should check it out. This one, Die Buster, is about a female pilot who's trying to basically become a real, live pilot. And there is a organization in the show called Fraternity that also appears in Fooly Cooly. So I guess it's a sort of tie-in with Fooly Cooly. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty amazing. I don't know if it's streaming, but you can get the Blu-ray from Right Stuff, I believe. So here is, I'm not sure if it was a trailer or a clip, but here's some from Die Buster.
The world is coming undone. Imperial flags reign across the galaxy.
Can you be trusted without your shackles?
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
We've a mission for you. A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know how to destroy it.
I've been recruiting for the rebellion for a long time.
We destroyed our home. I fight the Empire now.
I fear nothing. All is as the Force wills it.
The captain says you are a friend. I will not kill you.
Thanks. There isn't much time. Every day they grow stronger.
There is a 97.6% chance of failure.
He means well.
This is our chance to make a real difference. Are you with me?
Yeah, so that was it was a fan-made AMV that took the audio from the Rogue One trailer and put it under there. But it does highlight how epic Die Buster is. It's pretty hard to find clips online, though, so I would just say you don't need to have seen Gunbuster, although it helps. I would just dive in and watch it. It's pretty great. So those are some of my favorite miniseries. Let's go to the Adult Swim Facebook and see what your picks were. Fooly Cooly, of course, Over the Garden Wall, I'm not that surprised about. Star Wars Clone Wars, I think they mean the Genndy micro series. Band of Brothers, and Ascension. So pretty much the picks I would expect. And then let's see what the Toonami Facebook fan picks are for your favorite miniseries. Over the Garden Wall, number 1. Fooly Cooly, Star Wars Clone Wars, Band of Brothers, and Blue Sub 6. All excellent choices. And nice. Weirdly, Toonami and Adult Swim Facebook's very aligned this time on the miniseries front. So next up, we have a sneak peek at Intruder 3, which premieres tomorrow night. Episode 1 of 4 premieres tomorrow night in the open of Toonami, so tune in right at the beginning of the night.
So rather than giving you a sneak peek of that,
we're just giving
We're
you
gonna show you the promo.
showing you the promo in case you haven't seen it. So this is a promo that won't really tell you much, but it will give you an idea of what things look like for
So it's a sneak peek.
Intruder 3. So check it out.
Tom, we have an emergency. New sensors are showing dangerous seismic activity all around us. You need to get back to the station now. There's been a hull breach. Sensors show the hull breach right ahead of you.
Can't confirm a visual yet.
So 4 episodes of fun for for the next 4 weeks.
Midnight.
Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. We worked on it for a long time. And then next up, we have another installment of You Tweet, Me Watch, in which Dana Swanson, voice of Sarah and Toonami employee, basically you guys tweet what your favorite pre-2000 anime are to her, and she chooses one and watches it and lets us know her thoughts. So this time she decided to do Serial Experiments Lane, and so let's check out it's one of my favorites. Hopefully Dana likes it. Check it out.
Hey everybody, it is Dana, and I'm here to talk about You Tweet Me Watch. This is where I ask friends on Twitter for any pre-2K anime recommendations, and this time I got @WarEmu7, who said Serial Experiments Lane is a great psychological horror series from '98. Hey, it sure is, and since it's close to my birthday, I'm giving myself a present, and I'm rewatching one of my favorite series. Here we go. Serial Experiments Lane. It's about a young girl who is coming of age in a time of the internet. In this late 90s reality, it's not uncommon to commit suicide in order to leave your body.
It was suicide. She jumped off a building last week. The teacher told everyone. And it's not just Julie.
It's also not uncommon to hear people acting glib if they see you committing suicide.
What's all that noise? What happened? I don't know anything. We've got nothing to do with this.
And the most normal thing in the world is just seeing blood spatters dotting the shadows of looming power lines. Totally run-of-the-mill. You know just how your life was in the 90s. Our main character is Lane. We watch her progress from innocent, mush-mouthed young girl to extroverted computer whiz. Extroverted, however, is another word for crazy.
That's really hilarious. Exactly right.
When Lane becomes enamored with an interwebs community known as The Wired, or The Wire, depending on which version you have.
Connect me to The Wired.
The Wire can never interfere with the real world.
Her life transforms. Lane goes from girl who's acting boring to girl who's lead hacksering. All of a sudden, she wants to be Siri.
Everyone is always connected.
She also insinuates herself into this hardcore techno cyber warrior party scene, so stay tuned for that. Who else is in this? Lane's cyber smart dad who cares about machines more than his daughters. Lane's mom who loves emotional distance and whose mouth resembles a straight line emoji.
Mom?
Yes?
I got an email from a friend today. It was from this girl I know who killed herself last week.
Lane's sister, who is the only one suspecting something's up.
Dad, what's with Lane? She's really been acting strange lately.
Now, Mika, that's just perfectly normal.
But also sees Lane in the middle of a crosswalk and doesn't save her.
Lane, what?
Lane's friends who kind of don't care but still call themselves her friends.
So, they really are a secret society. Geez, so they're getting their kicks out of messing with other people's email.
Honestly, this is the loneliest series ever. If you're the type to traipse about in a bear kigurumi, well, this show's for you, my friend. What else is there to love in this? The psychedelic backgrounds and actions. I didn't know your fingers could turn into smoking sausages. Lane going so far outside of her shell that she becomes a techno ghost and haunts people's cyber dreams. The spinning keychain when Chisa dies. I love it. I'm making a fan page for it right now. This series will make you question reality and yourself. So strap in, puppies.
I'll see you later. You know, I think it's true. She has changed.
Tweet at me, I'm at Dana as a girl, for any pre-2K anime recommendations or mobile games, or just stuff you like birds or whatever. Send me some birds you like. Bye!
Nice.
Thanks, Dana.
I love Lane. I think everyone should watch it. It's out on Blu-ray. It's streaming everywhere. You should check it out. It's kind of a one-of-a-kind show. And then finally, we have this week's Adult Swim single, which premiered on Wednesday. And that is the final of the ones that we announced. And that is from Metro Boomin. And it's a pretty great instrumental. So young Metro does trust us, and we're happy about that. So check out, this is just a little clip of the Metro Boomin song. You can get this at adultswim.com/singles, along with about 25 other songs that we've put out over the last 25 weeks. So,
and more bonus tracks to come.
Check it out. Cool. So keep checking back for, as Gil said, possibly some more music from artists that will be revealed soon. And that is pretty much it for Pre-Flight this week.
Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoy Intruder 3.
Yeah, please let us know how you feel about it.
We will see you next week.
Thanks.
Later.